La 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 yeah. Woo!
Hi Weirdos and Queerdos, it's Queerly Complex, also known as Jason Wyman here. It's been a minute since I've done one of these videos, and so I just wanted to come to you today at 4:20 in the morning, May 26th, 2022. 2 years ago, I had the good fortune of leading a group of fellows through the Alliance Youth Media Network. We engaged over a year-long process of creative inquiry that started in January of 2020, so before COVID started. Part of our planning process was to start brainstorming a list of questions that our fellows were interested in examining. 2 fellows who were paired together, Kapi'olani in Portland, Oregon, and Cellou Diallo in Minneapolis, Minnesota, were matched together. And one of the questions that they wanted to ask was, how do we be good ancestors and build intergenerational power? That question was identified in March of 2020 as COVID was starting to close absolutely everything down. Kapi'olani and Cellou decided to figure out exactly when it was that they wanted to have this conversation, and they picked Monday, May 26th, 2020. May 26th, 2020, as the day of the conversation. For those that might be unaware, George Floyd was murdered on May 25th of 2020. Just want you to let that sink in for just a second. 2 fellows of color from 2 different generations in 2 different geographies and cultural backgrounds and artistic practices came together in March of 2020 to design a conversation about being good ancestors and building intergenerational power. And it was scheduled for the day after George Floyd's murder. That is something that we could have never have predicted. What we could predict is who we wanted to be in community with. So for Kapi'olani and Cellou Diallo, those were intergenerational activists and artists from Minneapolis, from the Bay Area, from the East Coast, from across the United States. I was incredibly honored to be able to be a fly on the wall for that conversation, to be the technical recorder, so to speak, to be a small host. On the call was B'nai Shekwe Means with McGizzy Communications in Minneapolis. Now, McGizzy Communications is an Indigenous arts and entrepreneurship and education organization that has been operating in Minneapolis for decades. And we were able to get B'nai Shekwe Means onto that call because a long-standing relationship with a youth media educator by the name of John Gwynn. John Gwynn is in Minneapolis, and now he works for the University of Minnesota. But John Gwynn is actually one of the founders of the Alliance Youth Media Network from 2000, when it grew out of a conference that the Alliance had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. On the call on May 26th, we gave space for healing. Before we dove into the crucial conversation about being good ancestors, we gave space for mourning, for grief, for rage, for anger, for expressing all of the hurt and the pain and the trauma that was experienced the morning after his murder. Folks not from Minneapolis were able to hear directly from on-the-ground activists, organizers, and artists about what the experience has been for them and what it is that they're doing to try to help their community heal. And it was hard to figure all that shit out because the murder was so fresh, the trauma so on the surface, that we just had to give space for voice. Now, I share all of this because we are in a time of incredibly increasing violence. We are in a time when our state and our government are not taking care of its people. For me, one of the morals or lessons in the story that I have here is that when you know that you're on the right path, things actually happen. For me, that right path has been always checking in with my comrades, always. After events like George Floyd or after events like the mass shooting in Texas, it is crucial that you reach out to your friends, to your comrades, to your loved ones, not just your family. Family is important, yes, but so too are all of the people that we want to see live, survive, and thrive in the future. Yesterday, and over the last 2 days, really, I've had the incredible honor of being in conversation with a lot of immigrant artists from Iran, from India, from Mexico, from all over the place. I've had the incredible honor of being in deep community with immigrant artists. So, over the last few days, I have just been texting people like crazy and letting them know that I love them. This may not be culturally appropriate. It may not be the thing that is expected, but it is crucial that we tell people that we love them, that we are in community with them, and that we have their backs. And that we don't just say it, but that we prove it over and over and over again with actions. For me, the conversational space that we were able to hold on May 26th, 2020 is only possible because of decades of conversation, decades of relationships, decades of telling people and showing people that we love them. We deeply, deeply, and truly love them. So my challenge for you today is, in the face of grief, in the face of rage, in the face of all of this fucked up violence and inequity, I encourage you to lean in to loving your comrades and your neighbors, to having the difficult, messy, sometimes painful conversations about how we get free, about how we liberate ourselves, about how we heal from all of this mass trauma and rage and grief and harm and violence. I don't believe our government is there for us. I believe we are there for us because all we have is each other. So please, show up. Tell people you love them. Don't just tell them. Show them. Hold space for their truth, not just yours. Listen. Empathize. And then act. We gotta do something different. The path we're on, well, let's just say it's not sustainable. I love you. Thanks for watching.
La 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 la